we are players in multiple infinite games every day of our lives. There's just no such thing as being the winner in your marriage, you know. There's no such thing as winning global politics, and there's definitely no such thing as winning business. Business is an infinite game. And yet, when we listen to the language of too many leaders, they talk about being number one, being the best, and beating their competition. Based on what? There's no agreed upon objectives, there's no agreed upon timeframes. And so what ends up happening is you have people building organizations and leading with a finite mindset, playing to win, in a game where there's no such thing as winning. And when we play with a finite mindset in an infinite game, there's a few very predictable and consistent outcomes, amongst which include the decline of trust, the decline of cooperation, the decline of innovation, all of which contribute to the eventual demise of the organization itself. There are two currencies in the infinite game: will and resources. Resources is money. You need money to stay in the game, but you need the will of the people as well. And the problem is that when we organize to win, that means the score is more important than the inspiration and motivation that people have to give their blood, sweat, and tears. And when we prioritize resources before will, that's a problem. And the reality is, as social animals, we want to work for and we're willing to give our blood, sweat, and tears to leaders who understand that the balance of those two essential currencies, the balance of those two things, is will has to come before resources. And that doesn't mean 90-10. When I talk about putting people before profit, people freak out, which is ridiculous. You need fuel for the car to go. Money is fuel for the organization, of course. Even if there's a leaning, it's 51-49. There has to be a slight leaning towards people, because there will always be decisions that a company has to make in which those two cannot both be supplied, and one will have to be sacrificed. The question is, which will you always prioritize? Let me give you a hypothetical example to make my point. Two CEOs. The first CEO says, our number one priority is growth. And of course our people are important, because if we take care of our people, we will meet and exceed our financial goals. Second CEO says, our number one priority is our people. And if we take care of our people, we will always meet and exceed our financial goals. Which one would you rather work for? People who are willing to give their blood, sweat, and tears make for better, more profitable companies. People who are only there for their own selfish needs and would be willing to jump ship as soon as they get a better offer, they're not the best people to help build a company for the long term. We can throw money at people which will last for a while, and you can make a company look successful for a while, but it doesn't mean it can last. We can't judge a ship by how well the crew performs in calm waters. We judge a ship by how well the crew performs in rough waters, which is when we lead with an infinite mindset, and the leaders that do lead with an infinite mindset have disproportionately more successful companies, more innovative companies, more profitable companies, all of which are strong enough to last for a very, very, very long time. And not because they just have the financial wealth to weather storms, but the company continues to grow and innovate and reinvent itself so that it's relevant in the face of new technology and changing tastes and politics in the world. To say that I care about my people because they're a means to an end, it's like we only like you because you help us make money, makes us not only feel used, but that we're a mechanism for somebody else's success. Where when we say we care about our people and money is the mechanism by which we can take care of people, the more money we make, the more we can take care of our people and serve our customers, it has a profound impact on our desire to give more. We want to feel safe at work, which means we feel that we can be ourselves. It means that we feel safe enough to raise our hands and say, I made a mistake, or I don't feel qualified for the position you've given me, I need more training, or I'm struggling at home, it's affecting my work, I'm scared, I need help. And to say any of those things with the confidence that our boss or any of our colleagues would rush to support us. Because if we don't create those psychological and sometimes physically safe spaces, but those psychological safe spaces, what we end up is with a group of people who come to work every day lying, hiding, and faking. They're hiding mistakes. They are not admitting if they don't know how to do their jobs. They would never admit that they don't know something for fear that it makes them vulnerable, for fear that it maybe makes them the weak link, that they'll find themselves on some short list at the next round of layoffs. Well, you can't incentivize performance because somebody has to do something to achieve that performance. There's a cause and effect. You know, you can't incentivize an effect. You can only incentivize the cause that would hopefully yield that effect, which is behavior. So if I say to you, I will give you a massive bonus if you hit a certain target at the end of the year, no matter what you're incentivizing is that I will do certain things to achieve that goal that you've set for me. But the problem is when we apply excessive amounts of pressure, and it's at all costs, like my very livelihood depends on that, it can accidentally incentivize some quite unseemly behaviors, like hoarding information, right? Because this is what gives me my value, and I don't want to share information or things that I've learned with my colleagues and coworkers, which is madness. Or unethical behavior, stabbing other people in the back. And this is one of the problems with, I think, our modern business today, which is too much of business is run right now with an excessive amount of finite thinking. Because simply driving people gets exhausting. It destroys the foundations of trust. It destroys the foundations of cooperation. And when we don't work well together, share information, admit mistakes, there's no innovation. And we know what simply driving a series of finite games looks like. It looks like investment banking before 2008, which produced an artificial, man-made recession. And so much of the finite thinking that we have today, unfortunately, is a really reasonably modern invention. It's not like business has always operated this way. The thinking of Milton Friedman, the 1970s economist, has really dominated sort of business theory today. He theorized that the responsibility of business, this is his definition, the responsibility of business is to maximize profit within the bounds of the law, right? What about ethics? You know, like a pharmaceutical company that raises the price on essential drug 200%, 300%, 500%, 800%, it's not illegal. It is unethical, right? It makes us uncomfortable, and yet the law is not broken. That's not a good enough standard to run a business. And leaders set the tone. So when companies are loyal to us, we will give loyalty back to them. When they're not loyal to us, why would we be loyal to them? I'm tired of CEOs telling me that, millennials these days don't stick around very long. Well, why would they if you don't offer them any kind of loyalty back? And it's not for the people to prove to you that they're loyal, it's the other way around. Leaders set the tone. The great irony is the way you build great companies is with an infinite mindset. The way you build great companies is by prioritizing people before profit. The way you build great companies is will before resources. Both things important, but there has to be this general leaning where we can feel, when we come to work and feel like we're part of something bigger than ourselves, where we feel that our work and our effort is worth more than simply the money we make. Running a business is the same as getting healthy. It's a lifestyle. Leadership is a lifestyle. An infinite mindset is a lifestyle, right? So for example, you can't get healthy by going to the gym for 9 hours. It doesn't work, right? But if you go every single day for 20 minutes, you'll absolutely get into shape, 100%. But I don't know when, and it's different times for different people. Right? And leading is the same thing. You can absolutely have fitness goals. You can absolutely have finite goals within the infinite context of being healthy. But there's a practice that you have to do. You have to get enough sleep. You have to go to the gym. You have to eat well. You have to protect your relationships, because healthy relationships really matter to our health. And you have to do all those things vigilantly. And if you miss your health goal, it's okay. You keep working at it and you will hit it. Business is the same. Who says that you have to meet this goal on this arbitrary date? Now, it helps to drive and it's good to have incentives, and we're very goal-oriented species, that's fine. But if we miss the thing, it's fine, we just keep working towards it. Like, they're guidance, they're not absolutes, because they're arbitrary dates and arbitrary numbers. And even if you do hit your fitness goal, you don't get to stop working out.